Okay, so we were discussing about data visualization, Seaborn and Plotly, and what have I done in yesterday's notebook only. यहाँ तक we guys had done everything till pair grid. I have added the code for some graphs of Plotly and I'll demonstrate one of it. You guys can go through the rest. और इससे related I have also mentioned some comments कि कहाँ पे which parameter has been used and what this parameter is doing. So please go through all of it. This is already present on the drive. And whenever you feel that there is something that you want to discuss, please feel free to ask. Okay. तो कल के session में you guys can ask doubts related to it. Can you give me a thumbs up if you can go through this notebook on your own? All right. तो एक ग्राफ डिस्कस कर लेते हैं प्लॉटली का and then everything else you guys can do. It's quite easy. So plotly is another data visualization library and the module of plotly which is frequently used to visualize data is called express. You can define its alias. And just like Seaborn, just like sklearn, Plotly also has its own data set. So जो आप iris वाला और text वाला data set use कर रहे थे, that is also present here. ठीक है? Let's use this data set to plot stuff. So this is our data set. And I'm going to demonstrate a simple line plot using Plotly. So you use the alias of the class that is px and you use the line function. इसमें you can directly mention your data frame. Iris is my data frame, just I want to make the plot. Or since line plot requires x-axis value and y-axis value, so you guys can provide those as well. So x pay, let's say I want species, or y pay, let's say I want petal width. So this is the graph that you get. अब जब इस ग्राफ के ऊपर आप hover करते हो, so you can see कि some extra information is conveyed. Key species here is versicolor and petal width is 3.3. Major importance that plotly graph has is that you can zoom in. Sorry, like here you have this zoom in button. So if like I select this part, I can zoom in to this part. Okay, जितना zoom मैं करना चाहती हूँ, I can zoom into the graph. This comes really handy when the data set is very large. So अभी तो इतने बड़े data set पे हमने नहीं काम किया है. But like when we were drawing some graphs, bar charts using matplotlib, we could see कि ticks overlap कर रहे थे या we had to slice the data and then visualize it. Using Plotly, you can plot a very large data set because it is going to allow you to zoom into your graph as many times as you like. You can see it is much more interactive. Here you can zoom in. यहाँ से आप download कर सकते हो. You can pan throughout this graph and again zoom in or zoom out के लिए buttons दे रखे हैं. Or this is auto scale, and if you want to reset the axis, this is the button for it. You can also select and zoom in कि आप part select करो अपने graph का and it will allow you to zoom into the graph. Please give me a thumbs up if this simple graph is clear to everyone and you guys can like find your way out of it. Okay, so just like so, I have mentioned the code. सारे के सारे one-liner code है for bar chart, for pie chart, and for sunburst plot. दो तीन plot आपको और मिल जाएंगे. Please एक बार उसको go through कर ले and tomorrow you guys can come up with the doubts. Okay. Now the thing, there are few things that are not mentioned in that particular notebook. So उस notebook में we have talked about some of the plot such as bar and grouped bar. एक stacked bar कैसे बनाते हैं? Then pie chart और एक plot होता है sunburst plot, which is a hierarchical plot. इसको एक बार अच्छे से देख लेंगे. और मैंने कुछ 3D plots भी demonstrate किए हैं. Okay. इतना सब कुछ is present in the notebook that we were meant to cover yesterday. अब इसके बाद what we all will be doing today is we will see how we can create some interactive charts यूजिंग यूजिंग प्लॉटली, ठीक है। तो आपके चार्ट्स में क्या हो सकता है कि इट कैन हैव सम बटन्स, इट कैन हैव सम ड्रॉप डाउन मेन्यूज, सो दैट वी आर गोइंग टू क्रिएट टुडे यूजिंग प्लॉटली। अब इसको करने के लिए लेट्स यूज द डेटा। सो अपने पास डेटा आइरिस है, वी कैन यूज दैट ओनली, एंड आई एम गोइंग टू प्लॉट। So there is a function in Plotly that is called figure function. You can pass your data, and जब आप डेटा पास कर रहे होते हो, so you can pass it all together कि you can mention कि what is the graph that you want to draw. Since यहाँ पे मैंने explicitly नहीं बताया है, figure function is just like plot function in matplotlib जिसको हम manipulate कर रहे थे to draw various kinds of graph. So यहाँ पे figure function में I am going to start a list, और इसमें I'm going to mention कि the plot that I'm going to draw that is the scatter plot. ठीक है। अब इस स्कैटर प्लॉट के लिए आई नीड टू मेंशन कि मेरे को पैरामीटर्स कौन कौन से चाहिए। सो आई नीड टू हैव फ्रॉम iris, लेट्स से स्पीसीज, एस इज स्मॉल हियर। फिर y के लिए ले लेते हैं पेटल विड्थ, ऑलराइट। एंड अगर आपको मार्कर्स डिफाइन करने हैं, सो व्हाट यू गाइस कैन डू, देयर इज अ पैरामीटर दैट यू कैन यूज हियर, and you can set the value to markers, and then your plot will be created. ठीक है। अभी let's see how this plot is going to look like. Figure has no attribute figure. All right, just give me a moment. I think we need something. Hmm. Yeah. So this is a simple scatter plot that I have created using graph objects module of plotly library, जिसका alias is also px since I was using the same alias. ठीक है। कुछ भी दूसरा alias आप लोग define कर लेना। I am using it क्योंकि मैं पहले से ही px use कर रही थी। Okay, so here I have mentioned that this is going to be a scatter plot, and x versus y, species versus petal width is my plot. अब this plot is quite similar to the line plot. यहाँ पे भी you guys can interact, you can zoom in and zoom out, and you can reset the axis to the original ones. But I want to make it interactive in terms that मेरे को इसमें drop down menus add करने हैं। तो let's make it interactive. तो इसको interactive बनाने के लिए we are going to add some drop downs. वो drop downs इसमें करेंगे क्या? Let's say कि मेरे को चाहिए कि right now this graph it is scatter, or I should get a button for making it to scatter, and if I want to transform it into another kind of graph तो मैं वो भी कर सकूँ कि दो buttons बना लेते हैं, एक scatter के लिए और let's say एक bar graph के लिए। तो how to make it, you have to use the function, इसको store कर लीजिए किसी वेरिएबल में, let's call it plot, and then you have to manipulate this plot variable. The function that we use in order to make any interactive feature in the graph, be it drop downs, sliders, buttons, or strollers भी आप बना सकते हो। So we are going to see एक दो चीज कि कैसे कैसे बन सकते हैं। तो update layout is the function that you guys will use to do the same. All right. अब what this particular graph is going to have, this is going to have some menus. Menus in terms of, just like I said कि मेरे को दो buttons चाहिए, और these buttons they are going to like we need to create their type, we need to create कि कहाँ पे इनका alignment होता है, and we need to create what kind of values these buttons are going to take. ठीक है। So update menus is the list that I am going to create here. So this is a parameter that this function is taking, which is going to be a list. अब इस list में as many buttons as you want to create, ठीक है, for this layout, you need to define a dictionary for each and every button. So I am using the dict constructor, to define my dictionary. This dictionary, it is going to take some key value pairs. So firstly, I am going to mention my type, and here type में I'm going to mention buttons. Okay. The second thing I'm going to mention here is the direction कि मेरे को ये बटन किस तरफ अलाइन करना है. Let's say कि मेरे को यहाँ पे I can create the button for scatter और उसके just beside I want the button for a bar plot. Side by side मेरे को बनाना है. तो डायरेक्शन क्या कर सकते हैं हम? Let's define the direction left for now. कि ये वाला जो बटन है, the first button that I'm creating, it should be on the left side. Okay. Now, finally, we have to create buttons. So we use the buttons parameter here. So this is just a key that I am defining on my side. And again, we are going to use the list constructor. और इस constructor में we are going to define all the buttons that are going to present in our layout. ठीक है. तो hierarchy एक बार understand करेंगे. Firstly, I use this update layout function जिससे I'm going to create buttons. फिर मैंने ये list बनाई है, that is update menus. This is the parameter of this particular function. इसमें you have created a dictionary जिसका आपने type define किया है that this dictionary is going to contain some buttons. Now इसमें एक key है which is buttons और इसमें आप एक list में define करोगे all the buttons that you are going to create. इतना समझ में आया? Can you please give me a thumbs up if you are able to understand? Do you want me to repeat it? Please mention. Yes guys, can you please react? अगर नहीं समझ में आ रहा है please let me know. Okay, let me just write the code and I'll repeat once more. एक बारी code पूरा हो जाए, then you guys can relate and understand the whole hierarchy. Is that fine? Just two buttons are left, and after that, I'm going to explain once again. Okay. So यहाँ पे I'm going to create these buttons for scatter and bar. Again, these are going to be bits. So list के अंदर I am defining a dict, and this dict is going to contain some arguments. तो अभी arguments क्या होंगी? पहली key I'm making is args. It is going to have two values. एक होगा type, दूसरा होगा whatever is the type of this particular button. तो मेरे को क्या करना है कि I want this button to be the scatter button. ठीक है? Scatter plot के लिए. अब इसका label you have to decide. So here you can mention कि this is a scatter plot. And there is a method all parameter also that you guys can use. Basically, what kind of styling you want this button to have. अभी के लिए I am leaving it as it is. If we feel we are going to add some styling to it. ठीक है. अभी के लिए I'm not using the method key here. Then again to define the other button, I am creating another here, and in same kind I'm going to create two keys for this dictionary. One is going to be args, जिसकी value will be type and bar, and other one would be label. ठीक है, जिसका label we can give a string that is going to be, let's say, bar chart. Okay, so now this is a dictionary that we have created. This is the first one. This here is the second one. यहाँ पे हमारी list is ending, and let me just थोड़ा brackets को sort कर लेते हैं so that it is a little bit easier to understand. All right, and not dot should. देखते हैं if it is working. Yes, it is working. तो मैं एक बार explain कर देती हूँ आपको कि हुआ क्या है इधर. I guess till here everything is understandable. एक simple scatter plot बनाया. Can you give me a thumbs up अगर यहाँ तक everything is clear? Okay. अब दूसरी चीज हम क्या कर रहे हैं, यहाँ से वी आर स्टार्टिंग दी इंटरैक्टिव मेन्यूज। तो अभी के लिए वी हैव क्रिएटेड सम बटन्स ओनली। आप ड्रॉप डाउन, स्लाइडर्स, स्क्रोलर्स, सिलेक्टर्स, काफी सारी चीजें बना सकते हो। ओके, तो इसके लिए यू हैव टू यूज दिस अपडेट लेआउट फंक्शन। दिस इज द फंक्शन दैट यू आर गोइंग टू यूज जब भी आपको इंटरैक्टिव फीचर्स बनाने हैं, बेसिकली विजेट्स बनाने हैं अगर तो। दिस फंक्शन, इट हैज a parameter that is update menus. Update menus parameter में क्या होगा? Basically it is a list, यहाँ से शुरू हो रही है and here it is ending. This whole value is present inside update menus. Now this list, that is update menus, it is going to contain some dictionaries. तो जो मेरी पहली डिक्शनरी है, that is this one. Okay, it is starting from here and it is ending right here. इस डिक्शनरी के अंदर दो नेस्टेड डिक्शनरी भी हैं, एक ये है और एक ये है। ये जो डिक्शनरीज है, these are the values that are assigned to this button key. ओके, तो मेरे को जितने बटन्स बनाने हैं, मेरे को उतनी डिक्शनरीज डिफाइन कर देनी है इस बटन की के लिए। डू यू गेट इट? इतना समझ में आया? कैन यू प्लीज गिव मी अ थम्स अप? ठीक है। और डायरेक्शन और टाइप, ये जो वेरिएबल है, दीज आर ऑफ द विजेट दैट आई एम यूजिंग। तो जो मेरे को विजेट बनाना है, लाइक आई वांट टू क्रिएट बटन्स, तो यहाँ पे आई हैव यूज्ड टाइप एज बटन्स। इधर मेरे को डायरेक्शन जो डिफाइन करनी है कि मेरे को ओरिएंटेशन इनका क्या चाहिए, लेफ्ट साइड पे चाहिए या राइट साइड पे चाहिए, दैट आई कैन डिसाइड। एंड फाइनली इसमें की होगी, दैट इज फॉर वट एवर काइंड ऑफ विजेट दैट यू आर यूजिंग। और उस विजेट के लिए inside a list you can create as many dictionary as you like. Each dictionary of this list is representing one button. ठीक है, तो आपने आर्ग्यूमेंट्स में पास करी दैट व्हाट इज द आर्ग्यूमेंट जो है इसमें। फर्स्ट इज अ की दैट इज आर्ग्स, जिसमें आपने दो वैल्यूज पास करी है। वन इज टाइप व्हिच मींस दैट दिस इज गोइंग टू बी अ बटन दैट यू हैव डिफाइंड। सेकंड इज कि ये बटन का फीचर क्या होगा, इट इज गोइंग टू बी अ स्कैटर प्लॉट, ये इसकी वैल्यू आपने डिफाइन की है। देन लेबल, लेबल इज सिंपली अ स्ट्रिंग जो आप चाहते हो कि यहाँ पे डिस्प्ले हो। अगेन फॉर bar chart also we have defined this args key, जिसमें the type is again specified कि जो आपकी update menu में dict है उसका जो type है that should be the type of this button, which means again ये button होने चाहिए not any other widget। और what should be the value, अगर मैं इस पे click करूँ it should like convert my data into a bar chart and the label is going to be a string again. Is it understandable abhi to you guys? Okay, so just like so, you can create many things, and this is something that you can do using Plotly. Abhi ek library is present in Python that is called ipywidgets. Have you heard of it? Can you give me a thumbs up if you have not heard about this library? Okay, so जैसे कि अभी we created these buttons using Plotly, और आपने देखा कि the code is quite complex to do it. So ipwidgets is a library that is totally and completely devoted to creating interactive widgets in Jupyter Notebook or in whatever editor that you are using itself. ठीक है, so basically आपके मतलब आप ड्रॉप डाउन्स और आप क्या कर सकते हो, आप स्लाइडर्स क्रिएट कर सकते हो, यू कैन क्रिएट डायलॉग बॉक्सेस यूजिंग दिस लाइब्रेरी। एंड लाइक जैसे हमने अभी करा कि दिस बटन इज एबल टू हेल्प मी to interact with the chart that I have. In the same manner, you can use this library and you can incorporate these widgets with your graphs and with several other things, even with your code. जरूरी नहीं है कि you are only going to use it to interact with the charts. So this is going to allow you to interact, to display interactive features, जिसके वजह से like you can select and basically you can modify your charts that you have created. अभी इसमें I cannot control the number of samples जो visualize हो रहे हैं. Okay, so here IP widgets it also allows me कि मैं samples decide कर पाऊँ कि कितने samples visualize होने चाहिए. तो मैं sliders create कर सकती हूँ. I can modify the graph such that कि अगर मेरे पास line plot है, like सो तो मैं इसका स्लोप चेंज कर सकती हूँ, आई कैन चेंज इट्स इंटरसेप्ट, और उसके लिए उसके बेसिस पे लाइक फॉर डिफरेंट स्लोप एंड फॉर डिफरेंट इंटरसेप्ट आई कैन सी दैट हाउ माई प्लॉट इज चेंजिंग. Are you able to understand what I'm saying? Okay, so we will be talking about this library tomorrow. अभी के लिए एक टॉपिक हमारा बच गया था, दैट इज डेकोरेटर्स. तो उसको करते हैं, ठीक है. टुमारो वी विल बी डूइंग आईपी विजेट्स एंड वेब स्क्रैपिंग. लेट्स टेक अ 2 minutes ब्रेक और उसके बाद लेट्स स्टार्ट विद डेकोरेटर्स. Okay, do we have everyone here? Can you please give me a thumbs up अगर सब यही कही है. Okay, so बिफोर वी स्टार्ट डेकोरेटर्स मैंने दो और स्पेशल फंक्शंस के बारे में आपको बताया था, विच आर जनरेटर्स एंड आइटरेटर्स. कैन यू टेल मी अबाउट दीज? कैन यू गाइज रिकॉल व्हाट दे वर डूइंग? राइट 2 or 3 words in the chat box for each one of them so that I know कि आप लोगों को याद है. If you can't recall, give me a thumbs up. Okay, no worries. आइटरेटर्स क्या होते हैं कि लेट्स से कि आपके पास एक लिस्ट है. Okay, and when I use the dir function on this list, I could get a list of all the methods that can be applied and that can be used on this particular list. इसमें all the methods that are starting and ending with a double underscore, ये जो methods होते हैं, ठीक है. All these methods, they are called dunder methods या फिर special methods. They hold like very like too much significance in Python क्योंकि ये आपको काफी काम करने के लिए हेल्प करते हैं. You can see doc here, जो आपको doc string के बारे में बताता है. These methods they can allow you to perform operator overloading in Python. और like ऐसे ही काफी सारे इनके फंक्शन होते हैं. Then we have a init method also that is used to initialize your variables, your class variables. तो like each one of this method it holds some kind of significance. Here you can see method that is called iter. जहां पे भी iter method present होता है, any means कि ये object जो है that is an array. Okay, able होने का that this object can be looped through and I can access each and every value of this particular object. ठीक है, जो loops होते हैं they access this method of the iterable and then they allow you to iterate over that particular object. Agar ye method na ho, then you cannot iterate over the list that you have here. Okay, so this is an iterate. अब अगर किसी ऑब्जेक्ट के पास, such as this list, it has what, it has this underscore iter method. अगर इसके साथ साथ if any object also has this underscore next method, then that object will be known as an iterator. ठीक है, जब अकेला ये होता है it is an iterable, जब दोनों होते हैं it is called an iterator. ठीक है, I can convert this iterable into an iterator. और कैसे करते हैं? We use this iter function. We pass our object. So मैंने list इसके अंदर pass की and I got a list iterator object. इसको you can store in any kind of variable. Let's call it x for now. And then you can use this next function to get the value inside this list one by one. Okay, so you can do next x, you will get the first value. Next x again, you will get the second value, and so on. आप एक एक करके you can iterate over the sequence. ठीक है, इसका significance क्या होता है? Can you guys recall कि iterators why are they important? अगर नहीं recall हो पा रहा, then give a thumbs up. Okay, here you can see कि मैं एक एक value को of this iterable loops save expensive operation. Yes. Yeah, so Afan and Abhiraj, they have mentioned a few of the things. Like Afan said कि loops में it plays काफी significant role and it save expensive operation. This is said by Abhiraj. अब जब आपके पास काफी बड़ा डेटा होता है, okay, let's say you have an infinitely long data set. तो उस केस में you guys can save the operation cost and you guys can only like access those values जिसकी आपको जरूरत है. Like you can access values one by one and not all the values of the data all together. ठीक है, which is also going to save time and save cost. Now this was about a data set that was very long, but in case if you have a sequence which is like infinite, जो end ही नहीं हो रहा है, तो अगर आप उसको लूप पे चलाओगे, ठीक है, the loop is going to consume all your stack memory. ठीक है, and it is going to be an infinite loop. लेकिन अगर you have iterators, since this iterator जब मैंने लिस्ट को इस iterator में कन्वर्ट किया, आई एम एबल टू एक्सट्रैक्ट वन एंड एवरी एलिमेंट एक के बाद एक. सो आई कैन डू इट विद इनफाइनाइट सीक्वेंसेस कि मैं एक के बाद एक एलिमेंट को एक्सेस कर सकती हूँ एंड आई विल नॉट कंज्यूम, इट विल नॉट कंज्यूम माय स्टैक मेमोरी. Okay, so iterators come very handy while dealing with very large data when you want to save your time, when you want to save the cost. और इसी चीज को this evaluation of iterators, it is called lazy evaluation. Okay, you guys please pay a little bit attention towards these three functions. They have a lot of importance and they can come really handy to you guys in the future. ठीक है, so iterators, I guess now it is clear to everyone. Can you give me a thumbs up on that? ठीक है, अब generators क्या होते हैं? They are like a normal function. ठीक है, जैसे कोई भी एक function आप declare कर सकते हो, एक function that is producing squares, and I have provided a range. Let's say for n, I will be generating squares of numbers. So for I in range of n, and spelling here is wrong, I'm going to yield the square of I. So generator is a normal function only, but instead of returning any value, it yields the value. अब return और yield में फर्क क्या है? Like if I create, like if I call this function, or जो भी variable is storing the function call, I convert it into an iterator. So SQ is my iterator now. Let's call it X. And what I am doing, अरे स्क्वायर की स्पेलिंग क्या होती है? Am I writing the correct spelling? N, अच्छा सॉरी, N is missing here. ठीक है, got it, got it. Okay, so I have created an iterator here और मैं क्या कर रही हूँ अगेन नेक्स्ट फंक्शन की हेल्प से आई कैन एक्सेस ईच एंड एवरी वैल्यू ऑफ दिस iterator. एक सेकेंड. ओके, तो जनरेटर इज अ सिंपल फंक्शन. ठीक है, जैसे आपके नॉर्मल फंक्शन होते हैं, जस्ट लाइक दैट आई हैव क्रिएटेड अ फंक्शन जो कि स्क्वायर है एंड इट इज रिटर्निंग द स्क्वायर. जितनी भी मैं नंबर्स पास कर रही हूँ उनका, जो फ्रॉम 1 till 4 जितने नंबर्स आ रहे हैं उनका ये स्क्वायर इट इज रिटर्निंग टू मी, लाइक नॉट द स्क्वायर रेज टू द पावर ऑफ दैट नंबर, सॉरी. तो यहाँ पे वी हैव यूज्ड yield कीवर्ड. जहां पे भी एक फंक्शन के अंदर yield कीवर्ड इज प्रेजेंट, दैट इज अ जनरेटर. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ रिटर्निंग अ वैल्यू इट इज yielding द वैल्यू. रिटर्न से इधर फर्क क्या हो जाता कि आई वुडेंट बी एबल टू कन्वर्ट इट इनटू एन आइटरेटर, क्योंकि रिटर्न व्हाट इट डज, इट इज गोइंग टू वंस return is encountered, the control will be transferred to the place where the call was made. Function say the execution control it exists and it is not going to resume the further execution. जबकि yield में it does not happen. आपका एक value it is returned and then again the execution starts and फिर से दोबारा से it works till you guys are accessing the value using the next function. Is it clear? समझ में आ रहा है ये? Can you give me a thumbs up? ठीक है, so all of these special kind of functions, generators and iterators, they hold like a lot of significance क्योंकि these are special. They are not working in the uh, basically in the conventional way. So likewise, we have a function that is called decorator. तो Python में we have decorators. ये क्या करते हैं? They allow you to modify the functionality of any existing function. ठीक है, तो लेट्स से मैंने एक फंक्शन ऑलरेडी लिख दिया है एंड आई वांट टू एनहांस इट विदाउट चेंजिंग द कोड फॉर दैट पर्टिकुलर फंक्शन. सो व्हाट आई कैन डू, आई कैन क्रिएट अ पाइथन डेकोरेटर फॉर इट. ठीक है, सो इट इज गोइंग टू डेकोरेट द फंक्शन. अभी बिफोर वी अंडरस्टैंड decorator, I need you to like agree with me on a few things. Do you agree that function can be created inside a function? Give me a thumbs up if you agree with this statement. ठीक है, do you agree कि function can be passed as argument? किस चीज से agree करते हो? Right? You can assign a function to any variable. Is it possible? Just here we did the same. ठीक है, and a function can return another function as value. Do you agree with this statement? ठीक है, so what a decorator does, it uses all of these four concepts. कि एक function can be created inside another function, so there is going to be a concept of outer and inner function in case of decorators. Function can be passed as argument, function can be assigned to a variable, and one function can be returned to returned by another function. ठीक है, तो इसके लिए what we are going to do, we are going to make a simple decorator first. पहले देखेंगे कि बनता कैसे है, then we will see कि uses क्या क्या हो सकते हैं. Got it? तो अभी मैं क्या कर रही हूँ, I am defining a function that is going to say a greeting. Okay, so I'll call it greet. This function, it is not taking any arguments, and what it is going to say, it will simply return, let's say good morning. ये मेरा सिंपल फंक्शन है, इसको कॉल करोगे तो सिर्फ ये गुड मॉर्निंग रिटर्न करेगा, इसके अलावा इट इज नॉट डूइंग एनीथिंग. नाउ व्हाट आई वांट टू डू, इफ आई एक्सेस दिस फंक्शन, मेरे को चाहिए कि ये जो गुड मॉर्निंग की वैल्यू है, इट इज रिटर्न बट नॉट एज इट इज, इट शुड बी कन्वर्टेड इनटू अपर केस. ठीक है, अब यहाँ पे दो चीज हो सकती है, ईदर आई कैन लाइक यूज द अपर फंक्शन हियर एंड आई कैन मॉडिफाई माय फंक्शन, मॉडिफाई माय कोड, बट लेट्स से आई डोंट वांट टू डू दिस. मेरे को अपना इस फंक्शन को बिल्कुल नहीं छेड़ना है. आई वांट टू क्रिएट अ डेकोरेटर फॉर इट. वो क्या कर सके, दैट डेकोरेटर इट कैन मॉडिफाई दिस फंक्शन दैट आई एम यूजिंग राइट. ठीक है, तो हम क्या करेंगे, एक डेकोरेटर बनाएंगे एंड आई विल कॉल इट अपर केस. ठीक है, हियर दिस डेकोरेटर इज गोइंग टू टेक अ फंक्शन एज आर्गुमेंट. तो अपना ये वाला जो पॉइंट है, that we will be using here, कि I am going to pass a function as argument to the uppercase function. ठीक है, now this function, this uppercase function, it is going to contain another function that I'll call wrapper. ठीक है, अब function के अंदर function आ गया, so nested function is created. One is outer, another one is inner. Uppercase is the outer function, wrapper is the inner function here. ठीक है, अब what we are going to do, we are going to give a call to the function that has been passed as the argument. Okay, so let's use f equals to, and let's give a call to this func function. Okay, now यहाँ पे we are going to do the major task, that is to convert whatever value is returned by this function into uppercase. तो f the variable जहाँ पे I am calling the function, ये वाली बात भी सही हो गई हमारी कि assign a function to any variable. यहाँ पे I'll be converting this variable into uppercase using the upper function of string. इसको let's store inside a variable that is converted and let's return the value. Okay, यहाँ तक any doubt, कोड से रिलेटेड कुछ भी डाउट है, I'll explain it once again, एक बार ये हो जाए. Can you give me a thumbs up if you understand what I have done here? Okay, अब यहाँ I have come out of the body of this wrapper function, that is my inner function. तो मैं mention कर देती हूँ, this is outer and this is inner. So here what I'm doing, I'm going to return my inner function, that is my wrapper function. ठीक है, a function can return another function as value. Uppercasing is returning wrapper as the value. ठीक है, इस फंक्शन के साथ कोई छेड़छाड़ नहीं हुई, ये एक सेपरेट फंक्शन बन गया, but right now these two functions are not linked in any way. So let's see how I can decorate this greet function now. So उसके लिए what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a call to uppercase and here I will pass my greet function as the argument. ठीक है, when you run it as it is, you'll get a wrapper value और आपको आपकी like result नहीं मिलेगा. So it is better that you store it inside a variable. I'm going to call this variable deck and then give a function call. This greet function has been decorated by the uppercase function now. If you understand what has happened, भले ही working समझ में ना आ रही हो, if you guys understand what has happened here, give me a thumbs up. Clear distinction दिख रहा है that this was in title case और इसको हमने upper case में convert कर दिया है. Let's see how it is happening now. तो यहाँ पे a call has been made to the uppercase function जिसमें we have passed the greet function. तो uppercase function has been called or the value for func is going to be greet. ठीक है, now this inner function, this is present but this won't execute until the uppercase will return the inner function as value. Now when this is returned, अब इसकी body execute होगी. So f variable here, it is giving a call to the greet function now. Okay, so greet, that is the value of func, and now we are finally calling the greet function. ठीक है, इसके बाद what we are doing इस variable में जब हम greet function को call करेंगे, so what is the value the greet function is going to return? It is going to return good morning. Okay, so here I mentioned कि f it becomes equals to good morning. And now since it is a string now, you can directly use what? You can do f dot upper and you can return the value which is going to be a uppercase string. And finally that value will be returned right. Working समझ में आई अब? Can you please give a thumbs up if you understand the working? Everyone एक बारी please react कर दो. Yes, Amit, Abhiraj, Manshu, Faizan. Can you guys also react? Okay, thank you. ठीक है, so this is how you create a simple decorator. लेकिन अभी क्या हुआ that मेरे को करना क्या पड़ा? I had to give a call here. मेरी function की body यहाँ है and this is my another function that I am decorating. Is there another way to decorate this function without having to call the decorator? तो अभी ये जो upper case है that I have given a call और इसमें मैंने greet function को as argument pass किया, क्या इसके अलावा भी कोई way है? So yes, generally you will see कि at the rate symbols के बाद you will see some function name written. अगर आपने कोई कभी कोड देखा होगा, so decorators they are used in this manner कि आप at the rate यूज करते हो and then you write the name of your decorator. तो जैसे मेरे पास ये read function है और upper case is decorating it, so what I can do, I can mention at the rate और उसके बाद मैं अपने decorator का नाम लिखती हूँ and then directly I can give a call to greet and I am able to achieve the same purpose जो मैं इधर इससे कर पा रही थी, that I am able to write it. ठीक है, so there are two ways, either you can do like this ऐसे या फिर आप एक sorry, using at the rate you can define the uppercase decorator just above your function body. Now let's figure out कि कैसे कैसे decorators can be like useful. तो अभी अगर एक मैं function बनाऊं, let's say एक divide का function बनाते हैं and it is going to take two variables a and b and what it is going to do, it is going to return me the division of the two. ठीक है, if I give a call to this variable and pass two values, no doubt I'll get the division. बट अगर मेरी डिनोमिनेटर जो है वो जीरो होगी, दिस फंक्शन विल डू व्हाट? इट विल generate a zero division error. ठीक है, very common because anything divided by zero it is going to result into infinity and infinity in Python it does not exist, so we get a zero division. इसको हैंडल करने के लिए we have two ways. Either you guys can use exception handling, अब वो आप सबको आती होगी, जैसे आप नॉर्मल किसी और लैंग्वेज में एक्सेप्शन हैंडलिंग इंप्लीमेंट करते हो, इन पाइथन आल्सो वी हैव दैट. इफ यू वांट कि एक्सेप्शन हैंडलिंग हमें करनी है and if you want that I should teach it, so please drop in the chat box right now. Should I teach exception handling as well in Python? Give me a thumbs up अगर you guys can figure it out on your own, कि कोई दिक्कत नहीं होगी. या ट्राई कैट basically. Okay. In case you face any doubt, you can ask your doubts or we can have a session for exception handling as well. Okay. So one way to resolve it is to use exception handling. I can handle this error using a try block and I can raise exceptions in case the error arises. The other way to do this is to define a decorator जो क्या करे, that can enhance the functionality of this function कि that decorator will check कि क्या denominator zero है. If the denominator is 0, then it can display the appropriate message. Got it? Do you get the task, or do you get the goal that we are trying to achieve, objective behind? Okay, so let's create a decorator for divide. अभी तो I'm pasting divide function as it is. ठीक है, अब इसके लिए let's create decorate divide. ठीक है, again it will take a function as argument, and it is going to have what? An inner function as well. ठीक है, this inner function will take two values a and b, because it is going to check whether these values इनमें से कोई एक 0 है या नहीं है, basically the denominator. So let me print a message. एक मैसेज पहले मैं प्रिंट कर लेती हूँ कि a will be divided by b. ठीक है, but if b equals to 0, ठीक है, then print another message. Denominator is 0, cannot divide. Okay. And what we are going to do, we are simply going to return here, and we will come out of the body of if, and यहाँ पे we are going to make a call to our function, that is divide. Or finally, we will come out of the inner function as well, and we will return the inner function. Okay. Here I'm going to decorate the divide function, and let's first see how this is going to work. So पहले divide and 5 divide by 0. Division by 0 error. Okay. 5 will be divided by 0. Denominator is 0, cannot divide. If I use anything else, 5 will be divided by 2. The division takes place. अब ये हो कैसे रहा है? Let's figure it out. So we have given a call to the divide function, and divide is being decorated by decorate divide. यहाँ पे the value of a, let's say, अभी के लिए it is 5, and b के लिए the value is 0, जो मैंने पहला केस ट्राई किया था. Okay. So what happens कि जब decorate divide is called, ठीक है, because I am using it a decorator, so this function will be called first. तो decorate divide में the function जिसको ये decorate कर रहा है, which is the divide function, it is passed as argument. So func here is equals to divide. Okay. This body, it won't execute till decorate divide is going to return the inner. ठीक है, तो जब ये इसको return करता है, then we will enter the body, and this function is going to execute now. अब यहाँ पे you guys can spot one thing. So inner is taking two arguments. One is a, another one is b. ठीक है, and what these a and b values are, these are the values that you provided there. So a equals to 5 and b equals to 0. Simply it will print that a is going to be divided by 0. Then it will check if b equals to 0 or not. ये message print हो जाएगा, and the function is going to return. अब ये return कहाँ होगा? Where the call to this function was made, that is right here. Since इसके बाद, please pay attention, since इसके बाद divide function को call लग ही नहीं पाएगी, so 5 divided by 0 will never take place. And this will be the last thing that you will see here. Let me just change the values. जब यहाँ से the function will return to the place जहाँ पे उसको call लगी थी, divide को function call कभी नहीं लगेगी, the division won't take place and the error won't occur. But if this is not the case, then the call will be made to the function, और आपका function कौन सा है? The function is divide. A और B की value क्या है? 5 and 0. And sorry, if it is like anything else, which is let's say 5 and 2. तो उसके लिए this condition, it is false now. So इस function को call लगेगी, and the value will be like divided, and it is going to return जहाँ पे call लगी थी. So the value will return here, and you will see keep the result is displayed on the screen. Is it understandable to everyone? हुआ क्या, कैसे हुआ? If you feel कि नहीं समझ में आ रहा है, can you let me know? Anyone? Okay. So decorators, they can be used to decorate any existing function without creating inner or wrapper function. Will decorator not work? See, this is how you create a decorator only. Basically, आप क्या कर रहे हो that you need to define an outer inner function and an outer function. This inner function, it should be able, basically, क्योंकि this is an inner function, it will be able to access the variables that this function is going to contain. And ये तो like हमने काफी basic सा देखा है. There are various functionalities and various ways that you can use a decorator. So it becomes easy and it becomes like compulsory to define these inner and outer function. Basically, these are the steps to create a decorator. Okay. इसीलिए before starting I mentioned कि ये चार चीजें, ये चार concepts will be used here for sure. Okay. You can even create a decorator that will contain some arguments जिसमें आपको arguments pass करनी पड़ेंगी. So I'll share a link for uh, basically a document that you guys can go through. Yeah, I will provide some examples as well जिसमें you can see in how many different ways you can use decorators. एक अगर example मैं आपको बता दूं, so a very important use of decorator is in authentication. Let's say कि हम एक website create कर रहे हैं and there is a dashboard and I want कि सिर्फ जो users हैं, like if someone is able to sign in, तो उसी के बाद ये dashboard उन लोगों को available हो. So normally, like I have created website using Django and Flask, तो मेरे को उन्हीं का idea है. I don't know about like other thing like what are the other ways you guys use to create a website. So when we use Django or we use Flask, so what we do, we create views. Okay. So for dashboard, I will be having a view. And if I have signed in, I will be able to access that view. So normally when you are creating a website, if you use the URL that is associated with this view, doesn't matter if you have signed in or signed out, you will be able to see the dashboard since you are able to access the URL which belongs to the dashboard view. Okay. But what you guys can use if you want to like put an inhibition कि जिस बंदे ने sign in किया है सिर्फ वही dashboard use कर पाए. So Django has decorators for that purpose. Okay. So what you guys can do, you guys can use these decorators और आप अपना जो view dashboard का view है that you guys can define uh, that you can modify using a decorator which will allow the user. फिर वो वहाँ पे compulsorily authentication को allow कर देगा and only if the user sign in तभी उनको डैशबोर्ड एक्सेसिबल होगा. तो उसके लिए मेरे को अलग से कोड नहीं लिखना पड़ता कि मतलब प्लीज चेक वेदर समवन हैज साइन इन और नॉट. तो उसके लिए द डेकोरेटर हैज बीन प्री डिफाइंड. ठीक है. सो दीज आर द थिंग्स दैट यू कैन डू एंड बेसिकली एक चीज होती है मेमोराइजेशन और like कैशे वगैरह के लिए भी there are some decorators and all. So yeah, Afan has also provided the link for the documentation. Please go through the documentation once. And there is also a very nice case study or better to say कि एक blog है over the internet. I will share that with you जिसमें a person has shared like in how many different ways what are the real world examples of decorator. But I believe you get the crux of it, right? एक बात हम सब दिखा दो if you guys understand कि where to use it in real world scenarios. Okay, so we are going to end the session with this and thanks for attending. Tomorrow there is going to be a 2 hour session based upon everyone's vote जितने भी लोगों ने किया है. And from Monday onwards, that is from next week, we will have a little bit longer sessions so that we can compensate for the Saturday session. ठीक है. Basically हर session को हम 1 hour and 15 minutes long कर सकते हैं if there is a need. Got it? All right, guys, if you have no doubts, you can leave. Otherwise, you can discuss your doubts.